Here with Concordia head softball coach Tatum Edwards to preview the 2022 season, which as we record this, approaching pretty fast here. By now I know you've had a chance to get acquainted with the team a little bit and the whole atmosphere at Concordia. I think maybe we talked a little bit about this in the fall, but what are some things that maybe you've enjoyed about this experience so far?
Yeah, I've definitely enjoyed the challenge of the new position. Obviously, I've never been a head coach before, so it definitely has a lot of different things and aspects that I've never really had to pay attention to. So the challenge in that part I've really enjoyed. Being that I've never been at a program that has a varsity and JV roster, I think understanding how to time manage and really figure out how to collaborate with a lot of different people has been a challenge in itself, but it's been a lot of fun to see what we have and evaluate a lot of different players, and I've really enjoyed getting to know all the girls, and up to this point it's like we're all ready to play a game and all of that stuff, but the staff here has been great and everyone's been really supportive, and really I've asked so many questions, I feel like, to a lot of different coaches, so I've gotten a lot of different answers and some great support, so it's been good so far.
Well, as you mentioned, you're well into practice now with the semester, a couple weeks into it. How would you kind of describe the way practice has been structured and how the team has responded to some things that are new for everybody?
Yeah, we've definitely come to the conclusion that I am a high energy person when I'm coaching. I like to move fast with things. I think that they've caught on to that, so that's been a good thing. I'm really organized with kind of how practice plans flow and what the structure kind of looks like, so I think that they've gotten used to that. But we're always working on trying to make sure we understand what our job is and what our role is, and I like to explain why we do things, so I think they've definitely caught on to that, of understanding why we do what we do and what small things mean and why they are so important. We pay attention to really small fundamental things every single day, but they have the understanding and expectation as to why we do the things that we do, so they've definitely caught on to that, and I think that I've seen a switch, especially with our practices this spring already, of how fast they're moving, the type of energy that they're showing, so that's been nice.
Are there certain traits or skills or things that you really wanted to drive home this preseason, really drill into them?
Yeah, so we've talked a lot about basically the routine aspect of what we do. So between pitches for pitchers and catchers, for hitters in the box, we're talking a lot about what the routine can do for them when they're competing. It's about fine-tuning and kind of figuring out what works for you, but that also goes with the positivity, the self-talk, the mentality that you have. So that's been hammered into them pretty much since the day I got here. So that's been huge. I think I've seen a lot of improvement with that stuff. I think it goes to show that the confidence comes from those pieces, and the confidence piece too, we talk about a lot about just why you need to be confident, what things can help us stay confident, maybe when we're not feeling so confident, but we talk a lot about those things of being ready to compete and competing at your highest, and also holding yourself to a standard. I think that that's been something that we've talked a lot about as well, and I'm starting to see it with a lot of kids wanting to go in and hit extra, want some extra BP, hit with Tristan. So there's a lot of different things that I've started to see of, I think they're understanding what their roles are. Obviously we're getting closer and closer to competing in a game finally, so they're trying to get ready the best they can, but those are the solid things that I'm trying to get them to understand. Along with that is just being a great teammate. It's all about playing for the name on the front, and it's never the one on the back, so understanding being a good teammate, being your best self, kind of doing the things that you need to do and should do for the team, that's also been something else that we've talked about as well.
You've been at a number of programs, Nebraska, Purdue, and Nebraska Omaha. How have you kind of incorporated the things that you've learned along the way into the things that you're doing right now?
Nebraska, obviously I was at Nebraska the longest. Coach Ravella's taught me everything that I know, and she's been such a great mentor for me still to this day. So a lot of the things that I do is kind of what I've seen her do. She's been nothing but a positive role model for me. So I've been able to see some amazing things that like I am so grateful for. So a lot of the things that I do are similar to kind of how she moves around. Obviously my own spin on things. But I've had great experiences everywhere I've been, and been able to take things. It kind of feels like softball is more of like take what you can find and kind of put your own spin on it. So definitely the structure of how things work and kind of being very organized in how I do things is definitely one of the things that sticks out the most.
I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the veteran players on the team. Camry Moore, Kylie Nixon have probably the most college experience of anybody, and Caitlin McGarvey has some too. What have you kind of been most impressed about watching them so far?
Yeah, Camry, they're all different, so that's been fun to see how they all work. Finally starting to see more personalities come out as we've gotten closer to season and just spending a lot more time together. They're definitely all different, which is great, so they all bring something different to the table. Cam is going to be that leader by example. Nixon is just going to come in and do her job, and she knows exactly what she needs to do, and Caitlin just works really hard, and I know she holds herself to a standard. So all of them bring something different, but I think that they all show that in a little bit of a different way. So a good thing is that they all play different positions, so they're impacting different people around them, which is great. But I just am excited to see them compete finally. I haven't been able to see it yet, so I know we're coming up here in a few short weeks, so that's what I'm most excited for, is to see these kids who have the experience actually competing in a game and what that really looks like.
Well, Camry had a big season, both pitching and with the bat last year, and first team all conference. A pitcher like you were. What have you kind of enjoyed about some of the sessions you've had to kind of work one-on-one a little bit with her too?
Honestly, for me, it's been pretty cool because she's seasoned in what she does. She's a senior. She knows how she works and the things that she does. So for me, it's kind of been more of like we're talking things out and we're kind of learning from each other. I want to know how she works and the things that work best for her. And I've also challenged her a little bit of ways of how do you feel things when you do it, and can you explain that a little bit more? I don't know that she's impressed a lot in the past of having to explain a lot of different things, so I think that for her has been different, but I think it's been great of her understanding exactly what helps her succeed, and so that's been the most fun part. I know that her and I we don't go into super huge depths and have huge conversations, but we definitely know how to communicate exactly what it is that we're wanting to achieve. So I love how she works. I love when she comes in and she has her eye on the prize, and she's going to do the work that she needs to do. So I really appreciate that.
I think you could say basically 5 starters from last year that were regulars in the lineup have graduated, have moved on. So that means probably a lot of competition for spots in preseason. What can you say just about how some of those battles have gone so far?
It's been really healthy competition, which is great. I feel like we do have some depth in a lot of different places, but you love to see it when, as a coach, you want to push everyone to be their best every single day, and getting them to understand why they do that every day. And it's to push each other to be the best that we can. And at the end of the day, if you're helping the person next to you do that, you're just getting better too. But I think them understanding why the competition is healthy and why being your best is important, to not only be the best self but the person next to you, it just makes Concordia better. So we do have some depth in places, which is great. We have some options to kind of move defense around and have some different lineups going on. So I'm really confident that we have some changes that we can make if we really need to do that. But it's all about being ready, and when your name's called, if you put in the work, then feeling confident that you're going to get the job done.
Obviously, this is your first go round seeing the GPAC and what NAIA competition is like. How does that shape what your expectations are? Are you just waiting to see what things are like when the season starts? I mean, how do you talk about expectations with this team?
Yeah, it all comes down to getting ready to compete and wanting to play your hardest every single time we're out there. I'll see what we have when we really do step on the field and start to play somebody else, but I have a good idea of what it looks like for us to really compete and to, for each player to give their best. I've seen what that looks like, so my expectation is if I can see that from every single player who gets to step on the field, then we're at a good place. So I'm just ready. Again, our competition is going to see what we do, and not so much about what everybody else is doing and that team across the way. But I think they're ready to compete and show what they got against somebody else, and I'm really excited to see it.
Maybe we can talk about it in terms of what ideally you want to see from a Concordia softball team. When you have things working, what do you want people to say about Concordia softball when they watch your team play?
I hope people can say that we play hard. I hope that they could say we do the small things right. That's really what I take pride in, is doing very fundamental small things right all the time, and playing for each other. So those are the main things that I would say. It's all about the pride that you take in the university that you're playing for, and I'm going to go out and do my best for Concordia every single time that I get a chance to, and that's what I hope that they can do. But doing the small things right, having fun while we're doing it, and just being really competitive.